Travels of the Ellis Arbor is a TTRPG story set in the world of Bastion using the Vagrant Sun campaign setting. Tune in for episode 34, Entangled. Tension bled into stunned silence. Carpathian, a wizard of onomancy, and Darian, a ranger of the shadows, proved to these robed brigands why they had the upper hand. Carpathian swung his staff wide. As it arced, a trail of red light cascaded through the air as he summoned a spell. Stomping heavily on the ground, his form was shrouded in arcana, and he disappeared into mist. An immediate unease fell over the brigands as they watched the hobgoblin vanish without a trace. Darian, using this moment to press his advantage, turned his pistol toward one of the assailants. 2 shots, square in the flesh of the shoulder. Blood cascaded behind as the shot sent them hurtling backwards, skidding on the cobblestone road. In retaliation, the remaining 3 brigands turned their pistols toward him. This was not the first firefight that Darian had found himself outgunned and outflanked. Tapping his hammer with his free hand, he summoned a burst of speed as winds ripped around him. The alacrity of his footwork was coupled by the ringing of pistol fire as the brigands began their salvo. Deftly, the captain spun on his heel and vaulted to the opposite side of the road, leaving the remaining 3 in a crossfire. Bullets sailed through the air, catching 2 adjacent attackers in the abdomen. The 3rd sailed into the distance, colliding with a nearby stone effigy and sending splinters in all directions. 2 more rogues fell to their knees, bullet wounds at the center of their abdomens. The final turned their still-loaded pistol toward Darian. The captain, however, was already on the move, dashing in a straight line toward their direction. Feverishly, the remaining rogue fired round after round into the air, hoping to catch Darian as he cleared the distance. And with ease, he slid under the hail of fire, vaulting to the side and shielding himself with wicked wind at his disposal. A final click. The pistol chamber was empty. And before the rogue had a chance to reach for a hand axe at their belt, they felt a gloved hand slam into their throat, leaving them gasping for air. With the butt of his pistol, Darian drove a final hammer blow to the rogue's head, sending them reeling with a sickening crack on the ground. Silence fell as all 4 rogues were dispatched. However, there were more than just 4 assailants to worry about. The final rogue remained upon a nearby windowsill. They'd have surely watched as Darian dispatched the remaining assailants, eagerly awaiting to fire upon him with distinct advantage. The captain would have to think quickly, should he turn his head and see a pistol barrel pointing in his direction. Thankfully, Darian's confidence was not misplaced. Turning toward the sill, the final rogue hurtled over the handrail, 20 feet down toward the cobblestones. A yell and a gasp as the wind was surely knocked out of him. Accompanying the display, a wisp of red flames and the distinct flash of a spell. Carpathian revealed himself, looming over the pained body of the final rogue he had dispatched. In but a few seconds, their assailants were silenced, and the pair had turned this encounter into their favor. Holstering his pistol, Darian instead drew a knife that was strapped to his boot. An ornate golden handle, the finest of craftsmanship and blade work. One side undulated toward the tip, perfect for cutting thick fabrics and leather. He rarely used this dagger for anything other than menial tasks. Thus, the edge was still razor sharp. He strode toward the downed rogue as Carpathian stepped through another portal to join him on the street. Taking the knife, he slid it underneath the rogue's mask, cutting the face cloth free and leaving the faintest trail of blood. The figure recoiled as his disguise fell away. Nothing more than human flesh and a haphazardly trimmed beard. Eyes full of fear and clutching his side.
Perhaps now you see why our reputation precedes us. You've got to be a little more careful when you jump out of windows. You could easily fall and hurt yourself.
The figure recoiled as Darian pressed his knife toward his chest.
I have an idea as to your motives. This is a quaint township, and I don't imagine that many travelers fall victim to such roguish assaults. Care to explain why you attacked us?
Summoning as much courage as he could muster, the rogue turned to face Darian, spat in his direction, and hissed in reply. "Don't think I'm going to let you in on anything, pirate. We know who you are, and you're not going anywhere until the band has some answers."
The band, you say? Are you a kind of mercenary company? You know, a friend of yours mentioned that you had quite a business set up in Dew Downs. Perhaps that has something to do with our missing friends. I'd appreciate it if you could fill me in.
All the while, Darian kept the tip of his knife trained on the center of the rogue's chest, pinning him to the ground. Wait! Fine, I know when we're beat. If you let us go, I'll tell you where you can find them. They're meant to be leverage to get you to talk. The boss has no reason to harm them. Carpathian interjected, almost shouting over the rogue's plea. Of course it was you lot that absconded with our crew. If you think such a simple transaction would be amicable in our company, you've no wits nor brains. There are few punishments suitable for one who entangles in our affairs. Darian held up a hand for Carpathian to quiet. For as much as he wanted to argue with Carpathian, he was right. Darian had allowed misfortune and attack to come for him, but had never allowed such dangers to come for his crew. Least of all, Edward was among the highest priority. Of all their adventures and travels together, Darian promised his gunsmith that he would endure no harm unto him. Indeed, Edward was the captain's sword, as he the gunsmith's shield.
My friend is correct. We have a rule in our band about danger. Never go searching for it unless we endure it together. Least of all, if any should try to harm a member of my crew, it would be foolish indeed.
Darian's thumb slid along the length of the knife handle. He held it firmly, pressing ever so slightly against the leather of the rogue's garb. The downed fellow's breathing became quicker as he felt it pierce the leathers, ever so slightly. Fine, I get it. You're not to be trifled with. Look, I'll lead you to our warehouse. I'll take it. I'll take the hit if I need to. We're business people. We're not just brigands. I'm sure the boss will see reason. And Darian's face turned into a wicked smile.
Reason? Well, we have plenty of that in supply. In fact, I'm sure he'll see reason when we meet and discuss our wayward companions.
And without warning, and with a quickness few could summon, Darian thrust the knife to the hilt, deep into the rogue's chest. A gasp of pain and the sickening noise of a puncture wound.
We can be very reasonable people.
He leaned close to whisper into the dying rogue's ear.
But reason has nothing to do with it when you choose to concern yourself with the safety and well-being of my crew. I look forward to that conversation.
A final look of desperation left the figure's face, the life leaving his body, as he saw Darian's smile turn to a heavy, vengeful glower. Slowly, Darian removed the knife and turned to deal with the scattering of bodies that now lined the streets. Travels of the Ellis Arbor is made possible by the generous support of our subscribers, followers, and most notably, our patrons. Thanks to all our Moon, Wedge, Crown, and Hex tier patrons for supporting us so far on this journey. Please subscribe, give a like or a comment, follow us on Twitter, and stay tuned for the next episode. Make sure to follow us here on YouTube, on Spotify, and on twitch.tv/lonomy. Don't forget, take care of each other.